welcome to the Late Night Snacking Podcast.
We're your hosts, Devin and Anita, and this is our weekly podcast where we grab a blanket and some snacks and talk about all things relationships, growing pains, and navigating through, honestly, life itself.
We hope our experiences encourage others to grow to become the best versions of themselves, and for their relationships. Grab a snack and let's go! What is up, snackers?
Yo.
Woo! Welcome back to the pod.
We are back.
We are back. Well, technically, this is episode 2, but yes, we're back.
Hey, we're back.
Very excited.
Another 24 hours, man. Hey, we back.
We're very excited. As y'all can tell, the sound is crisp, so y'all already know where we're at.
Crisco.
We're at the studio.
You already know. But most importantly, how are y'all doing?
I'm saying, because
how y'all feeling?
It's been a little minute.
It has. Like, we're really getting back into the routine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Back with, more wholesome, open, and honest
There you go.
content. Because, the Late Night Snacking Podcast is the most open, honest, and wholesome podcast in the world.
It is.
If you did not know.
As you can tell, we have another voice on the pod. So it is a guest episode, and we are very excited for it.
Hey.
Our guest, Phil, is here, our very, very good friend. Phil, introduce yourself. Say hi to the snackers.
What's going on, snackers?
Woo.
Philip, but all my friends call me Phil. I guess y'all are friends now, so you can call me Phil. Shout out to the family. I love the podcast. I'm so thankful to be able to be here and that I was able to make it into Charlotte to make this happen. A little bit about me. I live in the Midwest somewhere. No, I will not tell you. I do have a job. I am full-time employed, and that's as much as you will get.
Period.
Shout out to the family. I've known them for years now. So like I said, super dope to be able to be here and spend some time with you guys. And Happy New Year's. I'm sure this will come out after the New Year's.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Happy New Year's. Hope everyone has peace, love, and prosperity in 2023.
Love
Amen.
to hear.
Hey, look. AKA Hemi, AKA Hemi Jr., Hemi Neutron, Hemi are us, Himalayas.
You get on my nerves so bad. We have like a whole hour of this.
It's lit.
Yes, sir.
It's lit.
Alrighty. Well, unfortunately, since we are in the podcast studio, we do not have snacks.
Again.
Yeah, I think y'all are just gonna have to
Snack without it sometimes.
Yeah.
Just sometimes.
And you know
not all
what?
the time.
And that's okay. That's
It is.
okay.
Hey.
We don't need to, be working our stomachs and intestines and stuff out
Listen.
all the time.
Not the
Give them a break.
intestines.
Listen.
Give them a break. We don't need to be, eating something and drinking something at all
All the
times of the
time.
day. We don't
Oh
need
my
that.
God.
It's
Exactly.
okay.
Even though with the plans for today, some prep should have
Yeah.
gone into this.
Yeah,
But listen, you live and you learn.
You live and you learn.
We are going to brunch after this, though, so I will say
That'll be fitting.
probably best we don't have a snack right now.
This
so
is
that's
also
okay.
true.
So, alrighty, let us hop into. Well, are we ready to hop into the Unpack the Snack? Does anybody want to add anything before we do that? Are we good?
Let's get into it.
And let's jump
Okay.
into it.
Bet. So, if y'all don't recall, because I know it's been a little minute, our Unpack the Snack segment is basically where y'all send in questions. It could be anonymous. We don't give y'all's identity out. So if you want to ask something to us, send it in, email it to us. I know sometimes I put it on my story where you could submit a question. So however y'all feel like doing it, do what you got to do. But we got one in that I wanted to unpack. So let's get into it. It is, when is it appropriate to define the relationship?
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, man.
I'll go last on this one because
I
You
say,
need a minute.
I say ladies first.
Okay. I think for us, it's the hardest because I feel like naturally women overthink this kind of stuff. I also feel like we're very timeline based. So we feel like by a certain time that we're dating somebody, he needs to already have asked us like if we want to be his girlfriend and stuff like that. Or maybe more traditional people are like that. But yeah, I don't know. When is the appropriate time? I really hate saying this, but I feel like everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to feel out what situation you're in. I will say, like, if you're very much like playing boyfriend and girlfriend for like a few months in and like nothing still hasn't been established, I think that's an appropriate amount of time. Like,
That's a great point.
to be like, hey, I really like hanging out with you and stuff. We see each other like all the time. Like, do we want to get serious and like make this like official, or like, are we not doing that? And it really could be like a conversation that's as simple as that. I feel like we think more into it than we should.
Yeah.
When it should just be flat out like, hey, I'm really enjoying our time together. Like, I would like to continue doing this. Are you on the same page? Do we make this official, or do we like not? So yeah, I would say if you're pretty much like playing house with each other, playing boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it may be for like a few months, I feel like, yeah, you should probably go ahead and figure out what you're doing if nothing's been defined yet. What do y'all think?
Yeah, no, I love that. I think the biggest thing that you said was it's a conversation that has to happen.
Yeah.
It's cliche to say, and I even hate saying it, but it's a vibe. Most times you can understand when you start playing house, or when that's the person. Let's be honest. You may have a few people you're texting regularly, and then it starts slowly narrowing down to just that one person.
Right.
It's the same vibe for that one person. That's the person you're hitting up regularly. Maybe dates are going from once a week, once every other week, to just about every day.
Right.
Once that vibe really starts to kick in, it's a conversation. Sometimes one person may be a little bit more forward and be able to say like, hey, I want to take things to the next level. I want to put a label on it. Or sometimes, like you said, you can just be like, so what are we doing here? Like, I'm feeling you, you're feeling me. This is clearly working in terms of how comfortable we are. So what's stopping us from whatever's next? And I think when you talk about overthinking, it's hard. It's hard to be like, okay, well, what if I ask and she says no? Or she's like, what if I ask and he
it's
says
just the
no?
fear of
Whatever the case
rejection.
is.
People don't want to be rejected.
But it's like, yo, if you're feeling it, if the vibes are there, then, the worst thing they can do is say no, and then you just have to go from there. But 9 times out of 10, if you're at that point, it's probably going to be a green light.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, babe?
Honestly, it may be an unpopular opinion, but I don't really like getting mixed up in titles. It's really like a title thing. Like, and don't get me wrong, we've all had girlfriends and boyfriends and stuff, but let's be honest. Did we really need those titles? It was like, what were those titles really for? Was it for us, or to let other people know, like, hey, this girl is my girlfriend, or hey, this dude is my boyfriend, just so y'all know. Like, if we have a connection and it's real, everybody else honestly just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to holler at you at a club or something, and you're dating somebody, just politely tell them, I'm involved with somebody right now. That's all you need to know. I don't need to say, oh, I have a boyfriend, or I have a girlfriend, or I'm married. If you have a ring on, hold it up. Like, it's a symbol for what? A marriage or engagement or something. So it's like, I've never liked the title game.
Yeah.
No, it never really, I had, one of my girlfriends tell me one time, like, honestly, if you don't want to get married, we don't have to. Yeah. She was like, it's enough that
Tripping.
You love me and I love you. Like, that's enough.
I was not that girl.
I was blown away. I've never heard that before. Like, that's odd. But I get it. It does make sense. Like, I feel like titles is more for other people. Yeah. It's a gateway for people to get involved with what you got going on. I mean, look at the celebrities now. Such and such is dating this person, or this person was seen being on a yacht with this person. Yeah. Like, dude, maybe they're just hanging out. Yeah. Yeah. Like, maybe they are romantic or intimate with each other, but dude, like, who cares? Whose business is that anyway?
And I like the way the person asked it, because they said, like, define the relationship, as in, like, what does it mean to y'all, like the two people that are in it, or multiple people, whatever floats your boat. Hey, but
get it how you live,
right? But whatever it is to y'all, like, how do you define it? So if that is not boyfriend and girlfriend, but it's we are only going to see each other, then that is defining it. You know what I mean? So I'll go back to, like, transparently, like, me and Devin did not have the boyfriend girlfriend like, oh, will you ask me to be your girlfriend or whatever like that.
Right. It was very organic. It just
But I
worked.
will say we did have a conversation that was like, all right, so what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what's next type thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we did have a conversation about it. So like it doesn't have to be like, oh, is he going to ask me in like a gigantic gesture or anything like that? But like if you're both feeling each other, like I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with a gesture, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with like just having a conversation with each other. So
Yeah, I think that's just the biggest thing. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I have friends. They're now married, but they were dating exclusive, whatever the case is, for years, and it worked because they were comfortable.
Right.
It got to the point where we would look at them and be like, "Oh, y'all are married already," but they just didn't have the ceremony or sign the
Right.
forms or whatever the case is. So
Right.
I think, with what you just said, the two of y'all are able to have a conversation and be like, "Hey, we on the same page? All right,
Yep.
cool, let's rock out."
that's
Right.
literally what
Exactly.
it was.
Everybody,
That's exactly what
Pretty
it
sure
was.
that's what the conversation was.
and
It
then
lasted like 10 seconds. Like,
and then everyone else will either catch on or figure it out or whatever the case
Right.
is, but
Yep.
whatever's comfortable.
Exactly.
Yep.
So whoever you know who you are, who sent that question in, hope that helps. Hope we helped. So let's hop into the actual topic.
Yes, sir.
For the pod. So we are talking about emotional intelligence. Ooh, sheesh. Yeah, man, this is
Hey, man.
this is a
all
popular
ears,
topic.
boys and girls, all ears.
All-
Listen.
Everybody tune in.
Hey, take notes.
So, for real.
Disclaimer, though. I guess I can speak for all of us. We're not experts.
No,
but,
Yeah, no, not at all.
we've been through some stuff. So,
None of us have. Do y'all have a psych degree? I don't have a psych degree. You
hey,
have
look,
a
I
psych
got a
degree.
minor.
Okay.
Psych minor.
We'll
Okay.
take that. We'll
Hey,
take that.
yo.
Better than us.
Subject matter experts in the building.
There you go.
You have access to the door.
Yeah.
You,
There
can get,
you
got the
go.
key, you got the key to the door. So, hey, that's what I said.
Bet. So yes, we are not experts, but it's a nice topic to go in on. So we are. So cool. I guess I'll start. Like, what even is this? Like, people talk about IQ and having like, normal intelligence. But what is like the EQ? What is the emotional intelligence?
Okay.
Can y'all
so
talk to me?
It says that emotional intelligence is having the capacity to understand, control, and express your emotions while simultaneously understanding others' emotions and handling them with sound judgment and empathy. It's a good definition. Honestly, that's what I was going to say. Like, just being able to, like, recognize your emotions and other people's emotions.
Yeah.
Knowing,
Like how they
what to say,
affect-
what not. Yeah, like how they affect other people. Like what to say, what not to say. Like how to say certain things. Like, just being like present
Yeah.
in an emotional space, especially if someone's if someone's sad or depressed or something. Like, you're not gonna go and like make like a your mama joke or something. Like, you're not gonna do that because it's like, bro, that did not help. Maybe my mom is a little overweight. Like, dude, like, let's,
we don't
why
gotta
are
do
we
that.
even talking about my mom right
We
now?
don't
Let's-
gotta do that. I think wow, I think that definition, first off, beautiful reading. That
I
was
appreciate
dope.
that, man.
Stellar.
I appreciate that.
Five
I feel like I was listening
stars.
to an audiobook.
Chill.
But no, I think
Audiobook 2023.
hey, it's on the way.
Don't be surprised, actually. Anyways.
I think that definition.
Message.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Listen. The production company is on the way. LLC pending, patent pending, trademark pending.
Oh, let's go.
No, I think that definition is a lot, but a lot in a good way. Like, there's a lot to unpack. First thing I see, also because I'm reading it, is having the capacity. Like, your capacity to do anything changes every day. Some days you have 100%, some days you have 1%, some days you have 50%.
Exactly.
Right.
I think that emotional intelligence is the ability for you first being able to look inward and be like, where am I today? Right? I've learned this maybe the hard way, maybe through experiences, whatever the case is, but it's like, how much can I handle today of what I'm going through? So that way then I can let my partner know how much are they going through that I can handle, right? And there are times where you have to be able to juggle the two.
Yeah.
But I think in the sake of like a relationship, a healthy relationship, whatever the case is, both of you have to be on the same page in terms of like, hey, what are you dealing with so I can carry more? What are you dealing with so maybe you can carry more?
Yeah.
and then simultaneously as well, because it has to happen at the same time. I think a lot of times where we go wrong, or I'll speak for me, a lot of times where I've gone wrong is like I'm so focused on handling, her stuff, and I neglect my stuff, or sometimes I'm handling my stuff and I neglect her stuff. So yeah, those are the things that jump out to me immediately, because this is such a intricate topic that takes years to understand.
Yeah, it's really hard, and it definitely like grows over time. Like I can easily say my emotional intelligence, and this is probably for everybody, like when I was younger, like high school relationships, college relationships is not where it's at with like Devin. You know what I mean? Like it's totally different. And even from like start of Devin to now, it's changed. Like, you know what I mean? I would like to say that I've improved in certain places, but there's just definitely parts that I've had to learn. Like it grows over time. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to juggle your own emotions and having to deal with other people's emotions, but that's what you do in a relationship, and that's what you signed up for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But speaking about like relationships and stuff like that, like why do you think it's so important to have emotional intelligence in a relationship? Like this is such a popular topic. So many people seek this in other people. Like why is it so important for somebody to have like a higher emotional intelligence, do y'all think?
I think it's important. Well, first, I think it's always been important, but I think now, and I don't really know why, but I've seen more of an understanding, or a want to understand, like how I feel, how you feel, right? So that way we can have that mutual understanding of like what's going on in the space, right? I think people want relationships like, okay, so you meet someone and maybe you first are drawn to them by their looks, or maybe something they posted, or maybe just a surface level interaction you guys have had. And then you start to see, kind of like in the question that was asked earlier, you start to see like, okay, maybe this can go somewhere. Okay, well, yeah, this person looks good. Okay, this person's funny, but now how do I really get to understand who this person is? How do I really get to then vibe check and see like, can this person and I mesh? Not just on a like, hey, how was your day? Like, hey, tell me what you're afraid of. Tell me what keeps you up at night. And if you're able to really dig deep into those things, and the person's then receptive and supportive in those things, then you have the foundation that like, okay, this relationship can go further. Right. I think it's important now, because people, at least that I've seen, are like, I need to find the one. And you can't always find the one from surface level things. You have to really be willing and open to get into the deeper parts of things to really see, if you guys mesh.
Yeah, I agree. Why do you think it's important?
I think it helps you understand emotional maturity.
Yes.
As well, because I mean, if you're with somebody, if you have a partner or whatever, like it's kind of important to understand, like I said before, if someone's depressed, your partner's depressed, whatever, you're not gonna go and make a your mama joke. Like, it's not like that's bad emotional immaturity. Like, or like if they're going through something and you just kind of like waltz away, just kind of like distance yourself. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, dude, that's your partner. Help them out. Yeah. For example, like with me and Anita, like I understand her love language. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, instead of me, like if she's cooking or whatever, instead of me saying something like, oh, well, this is missing such and such. Yeah. Instead of critiquing her on how she's cooking, why don't I get my ass in there and help her? Because one of her love languages is like the
acts of service.
Yeah, acts of service and
quality time.
That's dope.
So so even though I feel like something needs more salt or more pepper,
Shut up.
She's gonna appreciate the quality time of me being in the kitchen with her over me critiquing how her pasta sauce tastes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, like he's cooking with me. Yeah. So the sauce needs some more salt or pepper. Cool. But at least he's doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So just being able to like be emotionally like mature and being able to understand your partner. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because especially if this is somebody that you plan on like growing with, growing old with, having children, grandchildren, like these are generations of understanding you're gonna have to develop over time.
I think it's dope, real quick, that you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the whole
That
part
you're aware of
yeah.
that you can look at her and be like, okay, this pasta needs a little bit more salt, rather than me be like, hey yo, let's do
Yeah, because
You
she
can
might take that as like, oh, so what are you trying to say? My sauce doesn't taste good? I didn't say that.
I didn't say it. Yeah.
Just said it could use
Whereas
a
it's a
little more
little
pepper.
different if you're like, hey, let me come cook with you. And then while she's doing something, you're like,
I can put the onion powder in. But for the record, her pasta is 10 out of 10. It's really good. Not better than mine, but it's good.
Okay. Anyways,
all right.
vlog coming with a pasta cook-off. Okay.
Hey,
but
run it up.
But I think that's where people miss the mark for real. Like, just understanding that, like, your emotions. I feel like the first part, like, I know people on airplanes are like, oh, make sure you put the oxygen mask on you first before you help somebody, right? Like, you got to get yourself together before you help somebody else, right? So I think the first part is, like, understanding your emotions and how you work and stuff like that. But that second piece, like understanding somebody else's and adjusting to that is so important. I feel like that's where people miss the mark. Like, take the kitchen example, the cooking example. If somebody else saw that on the outside and saw Devin being like, hey, like this could use a little bit more salt, like somebody on the outside would be like, what's the problem with that? And like, if I had something to say about that, they'd be like, oh, she's such a nag, right? Like on the outside, they'd like, some people miss the mark with like understanding other people's emotions, right? You don't have to, somebody on the outside doesn't have to understand why that would trigger me, but Devin understands that would trigger me and will not step into that territory for his own sake, for my sake as well. You know what I mean?
Stay
So yeah, stay safe out here. But yeah, so it's so important. I do really truly feel like that's where some people miss the mark of like being emotionally intelligent. Like, it doesn't have to be everybody's emotions, but at least in your relationship, like really, like Phil said, like dig deep and understand your partner, because like what could be triggering to you may not be triggering to them, and might not be triggering to outside people. So like, yeah, learn your relationship, learn your partner's emotions, know your emotions, and have your partner understand your emotions too. Like, oh, there's so much that goes into it.
It is. It's like being able to, and I guess a more lame term for it would be like being able to read a room.
Yes.
Honestly, because it's like, if I know someone in a room had a family member pass away from like 9/11, I'm not gonna come talking about conspiracy theories of 9/11.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even,
because it's kind of like it's just kind of like, who's your audience?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, who are you in front of? Who's in the room with you?
if you can tell, like, okay, this, in your case, Anita had a bad day today. You're not gonna come in acting a certain way when you know she may already be in a down-ish headspace or whatever from the tough day, and then vice versa. It sounds so simple when we talk about it, right? But there's so many levels to it. But it all just stems from knowing your partner and having that conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. Do y'all think this like makes or breaks people's relationships? Like, I think of couples and like couples therapy and stuff like that, and like I feel like a lot of people talk about this, just the fact that their partner maybe doesn't like care about their feelings or like cater to their feelings and stuff like that. Like, feelings are a huge thing in relationships. Like, do y'all think that ends up making or breaking people?
Yeah.
Certain relationships?
Absolutely. Especially if it's a sustainable relationship. Like, if this is real deal, like, hey, this is who I'm with, this is who I plan on spending the rest of my life with. Like, I kind of feel like these type of topics and these kind of tools are what, and not all of ours, but like our parents kind of needed.
Yeah, no,
I feel like our parents
agree.
would benefit from stuff like this.
Yes.
Especially these type of conversations, because let's be honest, like these conversations wouldn't had like when our parents was our age or coming up. Like, it was never even thought about. So I feel like it'd be beneficial. I feel like it wouldn't be as many like the
like
divorce
breakups,
rate.
divorces,
Breakups and divorce rates wouldn't be so high. Like, because these are conversations that would be had, and you could like kind of figure these things out together and grow together in the emotional space. But yeah, I think it does like make or break it, because it's like if you have somebody who isn't emotionally intelligent, or like present or mature, Yeah, I mean, of course, that's something that they can learn over time, but it's like, how long are you willing to wait for this
For
person
them
to
to
gain
catch
that
up,
type of
get
maturity?
it.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna wait forever for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it could make a relationship or break one.
Yeah. I agree. I think so too. Just from like, this is not me talking shit about anybody, but just from like past partners to now, like it's like drastically different from like
I love that.
who's emotionally intelligent, who's not. And like, don't get me wrong, a lot of it probably has to do with age and like lack of
Yeah.
experience, right? Like not being in enough relationships with partners to like really know, or like not being in long-term relationships with partners to really know, and stuff like that. Like there's so much that goes into like you being emotionally intelligent, but like drastic differences. And I can say that like from Devin being very like present, mature, all the things that he's saying, and like, can we all use work? 100%.
Yeah.
All of us can use work.
course.
But I mean, just from like him being very like emotionally intelligent, in my opinion, because that is what works for me, is like, I would say that's probably the top reason why this has lasted as long as it has. And it's huge for like women and men, because let's just be real, like women do mature faster than men. We are in a different headspace a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the times, like we are just ahead of the game when it comes to being emotionally there. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
But-
The fact that me and Nate was just talking about that, and
Were you
there's so
talking-
much that goes into that too,
Yeah.
and like on why, like
Yeah.
girls mature faster than guys.
Yeah.
But
and
I guess
it's-
we could say that for another like.
Hey, yo,
yeah, we could
But
say
that-
that for another
yeah,
thing.
The
yeah.
conversation we had was crazy.
A lot goes into that. So like me being 25, like I'm in a certain emotional headspace that like I would like my partner to like meet me there. If
Yeah.
you're years behind and emotionally like just not there, I'm not.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I can't. Only because like I can't be emotionally intelligent for the both of us.
Ooh,
It's
yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Like it's too much. I already have to like do it for me and like be present. Like I can't carry all of you as well. Like you also have to bring to the table. So yeah, I think it can make or break. What do you think, Philip?
No, yeah. I mean, I'll be comfortable saying it. As someone who's had a couple relationships,
Yeah.
it definitely can make or break. And to steal what you said, I would never shit talk any relationship
Yeah.
I've had, but I can speak for me personally. Some lasted the length that they lasted because we were able to have that emotional intelligence
Right.
and have those conversations and do our best to understand those things. And then lo and behold, as we continue to emotionally grow, we grew apart, right?
Yeah.
That is very real.
Yeah. Yep.
And then some haven't lasted because there was that difference in
Right.
who's more emotionally intelligent, who's more willing to understand this,
The other
understand that,
person.
whatever the case is. So it definitely can make or break. And I think it's so, it seems so simple, like know your partner, know who you're dating. But there's so many layers to that in terms of, for me personally, I'm someone who you have to earn me opening up. And I'm not saying that as if there's like challenges you have to go through.
No.
But it's just like I have to see and feel a level of comfort where I'm able to then tell you
trust.
what keeps me up at night, right? If not, most things are going to be surface level. And
Right.
I have to be able to understand like, hey, I told you this, you handled it this way, so now I can trust you with what's next. And it's the same for, whoever your partner is at the time. They have to be able to feel the same things. And I think what's big as well is, being able to understand what that person needs when they're going through something, which is all part of emotional intelligence, that maturity as well. Like,
Yeah.
if your partner had a bad day, are they the person that needs you to come up with solutions, or are they the person that needs you to just hear them out?
Yep.
Or, are they the person that wants a couple minutes to decompress on their own, or are they the person that needs to be smothered right then and there because of whatever's going on?
Right.
And I think, one, of course, you have to understand that, but two, you have to be able to accept that.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing as well is if you're not willing to accept what your partner needs or what your partner is telling you they need, love languages, right? Then that may not be a sustainable relationship. If your partner is telling you, hey, my love language is quality time, but you're someone who's like, well, I like my space 24/7. Okay, that's probably not gonna work out too well.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding, but it's also like, are you able to do, and even if it's different for you, are you able to, I don't want to say compromise, but like grow into that, or grow into that level of comfort where you're like, you know what, I can try this for the sake of, whoever it is I'm dating at the time.
Yep. I think that's a big piece too, is like being aware, right? That's a big thing with emotional intelligence, but like also being willing to like make the changes and adjustments and things like that. Like, I love that you were saying like, oh, one person needs a minute to decompress and the other person needs to be smothered. Like, if somebody has a bad day, do you want your partner to like come with solutions, or do you just need somebody to like vent to? You know what I mean? Everybody's different, but the partner, on the other hand, has to have that emotional intelligence to be like, okay, this is what my partner's asking of me. Yeah. Like, do I agree with it? Do I not agree with it? Like, can we make a compromise here? Like, just having that emotional intelligence to be like, okay, this is what you're asking me for. I want to find some way to make it happen. Yeah. What can I do? Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, there is that willingness part too. It's not just the understanding piece. Like, what is the action piece? Like, if somebody makes a mistake, somebody fucks up or whatever it is, like, do you have the emotional intelligence to accept feedback from your partner and make the changes that they're asking you to make, right? There's so much that goes into it, but yeah, there's more than just surface level understanding your partner. Yeah. So,
and I think even to that point, right? If I'll use me as an example again, I'm the kind of person, after a day, I need a couple minutes to decompress. My days are typically hectic. I talk a lot for a living, whatever the case is. So sometimes I'm like, okay, let me transition from work to being at home. Yeah. So, there are times where people are like, oh, I definitely understand that because I'm the same way. There are other times where people may be like, the minute you walk through the door, I want to know everything that happened in the day. Me. So sometimes
I have to work on that. I know that.
So sometimes, and even like you just said, even in being able to understand that about yourself, it's the ability to say like, okay, where can we meet in the middle? Hey, you need your 10 minutes to 30 minutes to decompress. Can I at least come sit next to you? Yep. Right? So that way I'm like, I'm excited. And then as soon as the timer hits 30 minutes, I can be like, so what'd you do? Right? Yeah. Or is there a way where, I can accept that maybe your answers won't be as lively when you first walk through the door, but you're at least trying to meet me where I am by answering my questions. And then maybe by the time we get to dinner, or by the time we lay down and go to bed, whatever the case is, then you'll be more like, okay, so now I can really go into depth into, how my day was. It's a conversation.
It really is. And like, do you have a camera in our house that spies on our on our afternoon conversation?
Right, this is very spot on.
No, I literally feel like he's talking about it. Like, it's kind of crazy, but like, it is just that understanding and finding that middle ground, because like, transparently, Devin works a job that he does not very much enjoy, right? So when he comes home, he's not in the best mood. Me, on the other hand, I don't love my job, but I mean, I enjoy the work environment, so I come home and I'm decent. I'm okay. So I'm in a very different headspace than he is at the end of the day, meaning when he comes home, like, his meter is on like -5 and I'm maybe like 50, right? So two drastically different, moods going on. I am the person that when you walk through the door, like, I'm excited to see you. I want to talk to you. It's been all day. Like, hi, you know what I mean? Like, golden retriever puppy energy. Like, that is me. But he is like very much the opposite. He's like, I need a minute. Like, just give me a second, because like, didn't really enjoy the day or whatever. So finding that middle ground of like, okay, I do still want to hear about your day. I still want to talk to you. I have to accept that like the answers that you're giving me probably aren't going to be, like you said, that lively. But like, you're trying, you know what I mean? You're talking to me. But I have to also, so he's understanding me in the sense, meeting me in the middle, be like, okay, I'll answer your questions about the day, but like, it's just not going to be that happy. So I'm accepting that. I'm also accepting that if he does want to come talk about his day, it might be a little bit later. And it usually is.
Yeah.
Like, we usually do talk about your day. It's just not right at that second.
Yeah.
So emotional intelligence, you know what
Hey,
I mean?
look.
Have that conversation, meet each other in the middle, like not having an issue with each other's preferences. Like
Exactly.
everybody's different, and you got to meet your partner in the middle with some things.
Exactly.
So
It's like, oh, like how was your day? Oh, it's Tuesday. It was just like Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, what about today? Oh, it's Thursday. It was just
Just
like
like
Wednesday.
Or it's
And it
like-
was like Tuesday too.
Hey, guess
and
what?
guess what? It was just like Monday.
And let me tell you, I'm gonna go one step
They all
further.
like the same.
Guess what Friday's gonna be like?
Oh boy, I got one for you. It's gonna be just like
whole
Thursday.
damn week.
Yeah, it's like, what'd you do at work today? You know, I talked to some people, I sent some emails. Well, what'd you talk about? The things I sent in emails. That's what it
It's
is.
the same shit every day. So when you're like dating somebody, or when you're looking for certain things in the dating world, or even when you're in a relationship, like I know we talked about like being emotionally intelligent. A lot of what we're saying is like being self-aware and being able to like have empathy for your partner and compromise and stuff like that. But there are other things that go into emotional intelligence. So
Yeah.
like other than being self-aware, what are some other things if somebody's looking for somebody in the dating world, or even if you're trying to evaluate yourself and your partner, like what are some other things that you're looking for when it comes to emotional intelligence?
I guess how sociable they are.
It's big.
Just because, just from speaking from experience, like being an extrovert and dating an introvert is so hard. Like it is, bro. Like
Yeah.
when you have somebody that literally like just doesn't really like being around a bunch of people. Like they
Yeah.
only have like maybe one or two friends that they really hang out with.
Yeah.
Everybody outside of that, they don't fool
telling-
with. Like they would much rather be at home than to be in a gathering somewhere.
Cozy
like,
vibes.
and I'm a little bit of both. Like I know how to flex both to where it's just like I've got to see my friends a lot.
Yeah.
The past couple of days or past couple of weeks. Like
Yeah.
stay home.
Yeah.
Like, I can stay in the house. Like
I
it
can sit
doesn't really
down.
matter to me.
Yeah.
But you know, if I'm just like, oh, like the homies are in town, like or like tonight, like we have people who are in town, like our friends and stuff. Like, yeah, let's go out. Let's do it.
Hey,
You know
pull
what
up
I mean?
1707 The Ridge. If you know, you know.
Chill.
773.
Ooh, what a throwback. Oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
somebody who's who's kind of sociable. You know what I mean? Like, cause let's be honest, we don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
If this life was really meant for us to be on our own and thrive of our own and do everything by ourselves, this world is big enough to where God could put each and every one of us in a corner of the earth by ourselves.
Let's talk
to
about it.
just
Yeah.
kind of like live.
Yeah.
But I mean, we share this planet with other people, so I mean, you have to be social.
Yeah.
You go to work, you're having to talk to somebody. People
Yeah.
are going to talk to you, whether it's over email, verbally, like. So you don't really have a choice. Yes, you're an introvert. I get it, but you got to socialize. You got to open up your mouth.
Got to
and
make
talk
some
to
sacrifices.
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Of course.
So just being, I guess, emotionally strong to kind of be like, really don't like being around a lot of people.
Yeah.
But for the sake of my partner, this is where we're at. This is the setting we're
Yeah.
in. I can at least, you know what I'm saying, meet the person halfway or, fill in where they're missing.
And I'll do my best to make the most of it.
Exactly.
When
Yeah.
when we're in whatever
That's
situation.
basically took the
I'm
words
not
out of my
gonna be
mouth.
the like, are we ready to go? You know, like,
Yeah.
Right.
Howdy,
Son of
sad. I don't want to be here.
especially
Yeah.
if your partner's like lit, like, oh man, my people are here, my family's here,
Exactly.
friends here, whatever. This is a vibe, and you're like,
Don't bring down the vibe.
And then you start checking your watch.
Chill.
Like,
hey, yo,
Chill.
I do that at work. I'll be ready to go.
Boy, we know.
hey, when that timer hit, little bleep, hey, gotta go. I think for me, we've talked about being self-aware a lot, but it comes across in conversation, right? I was telling you guys I was listening to one of your earlier episodes on the way here, and the conversation is huge, right? Having that intimate conversation, whether it's a first date, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're dating, whatever the case is the person self-aware? Is the person organically able to say like, hey, these are places where I struggle. These are places where I think I'm great. These are places where I'm trying to grow. These are places where I know like I ain't really it right now. And then even with that, their ability to listen or their ability to ask you, like where the conversation isn't an interview, it's more just like, hey, this is where I am. Like, where are you at? Like, how do you feel about these things?
It goes both ways.
That lets me know, like, this person is self-aware in terms of what they're thinking, but they're also open and willing to hear other people's perspectives, maybe take something from what you're saying and vice versa with you.
That's huge.
And then the big thing, being empathetic. Like a lot of us, most of us have not gone through all of the same things. Right. So I may not understand the circumstance for which you're in, but I know what it feels like to be sad. I know what it feels like to be anxious. So like I said, I may not understand what caused it, but I know the feeling you're feeling, and we're able to have a conversation from that. If you're able to do those things, I think in any relationship, it goes a long way, and it starts to create that safe space, comfortable, I'm able to open up kind of feeling and know that, okay, we can take this somewhere in terms of, you know, learning about each other.
Right. I also think too, as far as like emotions go, like being able to like self-regulate, understanding yourself enough to know like there's a certain limit you probably shouldn't go past, right? Yeah. Or if you hit your breaking point, are you able to self-regulate enough to like bring yourself back down? Because for real, it's not other people's responsibility to like, you know, take hold of your emotions and like calm you down and stuff like that. Can other people being around like help you self-regulate? Sure, but it's not their job to like talk you off a ledge and talk you down, right? Having that self-discipline and understanding of yourself to know like, okay, I've gone too far. Let me chill. Let me bring this back down. Not losing your cool, like things like that. Like, so if you're looking for people with high emotional intelligence and stuff like that, that is a huge thing to look at. Like, can they control their emotions? Are there going to be some times when they lose their shit? Sure. Everybody does.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, 2023, we're not doing this self-sacrificing thing where we're stretching each other for the sake of other people in the room. We're not doing that. If you know that you can't handle being, like, in certain settings or being around certain people or doing certain things, like, bro, for everybody else, just don't scare them.
Please.
You're more important.
I love it. I love it. And
put yourself first sometimes.
And even with what you said, I feel like this is just the theme of what we're saying. But you're able to self-regulate. Great. Does the person you're with understand that and understand how you self-regulate? Are you someone who's like, okay, I just got to get quiet because I know where I'm headed. Right. I have to go take a walk. I have to go take the trash out. And that 30-second walk is what I need. Or, you know what? I'm going to go take a nap. Right? Does the person you're with understand those things? Yeah. Right. And it's a growing and learning experience, because sometimes people do get to the point where they self-sacrifice, where they're like, you know what? I'm just going to take this L internally because I'm trying to survive in this space, or I'm not... hot topic. This whole like, I don't like being confrontational. Not everything has to be confrontational.
Exactly.
Right? It has to be confrontation. Yeah. Like me coming and being like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, or this is the steps I'm taking because I see where I'm getting, is not confrontation. But it also goes into like, how is it talked about? How is it brought up? How receptive are both parties in it? But I love what you said. Like, we got to stop self-sacrifice. We have to, because it's, in the end, it's only really hurting us, especially if the other person doesn't know what's going on.
Like, it gets tiring having to be the bigger person every time in every situation. It's just like, dude, like, I really need to let you have it one time, bro. And I promise you, we won't even have to revisit. Like, bro, I just really need to cut loose just one time, bro, and
give me this one.
Just one time, and
clear out.
We'll be good.
But no, that's huge. And then I think one more thing, which I think a lot of people overlook, but I don't think it should be overlooked, is kind of how you can tell somebody has like a high emotional intelligence is like, are they a very motivated person? Like, and that's just in terms of like, they understand that where they're at right now is like not the best it could get. You know what I mean? Like there's always more.
Yeah.
And it could always be better than their current situation. So is that person very like content with where they're at? Because that does go into emotional intelligence. Like if you just think what you have right now is the best it could get, you're never going to try for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you think your relationship is as good as it's going to get, you're never going to get better at communicating. You're never going to get better at understanding your partner. Like life, jobs, careers. Like if you think right now is just as best as it's going to get, like you're never going to give extra effort. Nothing's ever going to push you to like be a better person. And that goes into emotional intelligence because you should always be striving to like be a better you. You know what I mean? So don't overlook that. Don't sleep on that. If somebody is very motivated to like be better, that is a huge thing. Like that's a great quality for somebody to have. So,
and quick gem, that's an easy icebreaker and or thing that's pretty simple to talk about when you're learning someone. Like what motivates you? Where are you trying to go? How'd you get here? And how is that going to take you over there?
Exactly.
That's dope. I've never really looked at it that way.
Me either. I had to do some research on
Googles?
this. Some Googles.
I love it.
All right. Coming down to closing out because we are getting close to time to go. But just like on a personal level, what are some things that y'all have learned about yourself when it comes to emotional intelligence? Just over past relationships, over the past few years, like some self-reflection. Like what have y'all learned about yourselves when it comes to emotional intelligence?
Well, I just kind of like figured about myself, but I just knew, is I do, like we said before, like that's why I brought it up. I do a lot of self-sacrificing.
Yeah.
A lot. Like, and, it honestly, it isn't a thing that I just kind of like started doing. I will say like it came because it was being demonstrated by someone else.
Wow.
You know, like a parent.
Yeah.
And so I grew up seeing one of my parents like that. Yeah. Just do a lot of like self-sacrifice in order just to keep the peace, you know, whatever. Just don't really say much. Just kind of like stay out the way, like do their own thing. And just, so that's basically where I get it from. I do a lot of that. And, I'm more in tune with my emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of picked that up over the past year, just being able to recognize my mood and not being afraid to verbalize my mood to people who are in the room. Like, hey, it's kind of how I'm feeling right now, dude. Like, can we just,
I love it.
like, not, or telling people no.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say I'm a yes man, but like I kind of feel like I miss out on a blessing or something if I'm not able.
Yeah.
If I don't do something for somebody or if I don't help somebody out, then I'm gonna miss out on something that's supposed to be meant for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just even when it causes me like discomfort or I just don't want to do it, saying no. Just being like, you know what, bro? Nah. Like, good.
I can go next, and I promise I'm not biting your flow, but I self-sacrifice a lot, and there's a beautiful thing in putting language to something, being able to articulate how you feel, being able to.
It's hard.
Maybe I can't think of a better way to say it, but I'm not trying to say label it, but define. There we go. Define how you're feeling. I self-sacrifice a lot, and it's not for anyone else. It's for the sake of I'm always like, okay, this is a Philip thing. So-and-so doesn't care about this, or so-and-so isn't going to be bothered by this, or so-and-so is not going to take it as seriously as I take it.
Right.
And I internalize a lot of things, and, you know, I cheesy enough, I'm like, feels like a volcano. Like he builds up so much because I hold things in, because I don't always share things in. And then one day, unfortunately, I'm sorry, some days you pop. And when you pop, it's like weeks, years worth of stuff that's finally coming out. So I've learned that about myself. And I think for me, one thing I've really learned is like, I have to talk about it. And maybe not always go into like super depth, but at least just be like, hey, just understand this is what's going on in my headspace right now. And then, I've also become more in tune with my emotions and how I'm feeling, because now I'm on a journey to be able to articulate it. Like I said, be able to, when someone's like, hey, what do you have going on, or what's going on with you? I can be like, hey, I may not be able to go in detail right now, but this is just where I'm at. And if you want to talk about it, I'm happy to do so. But I don't have all the answers right now to answer every question you may have.
Right.
And then I've learned as well, lastly, for me, like creating a safe space is so important, right?
So important.
If you don't have a safe space, then naturally you're not going to feel right in always sharing. But at the same time, you have to also create a safe space. And it's the duality of the two that will push any kind of relationship forward. And it's something where, of course, you'll make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes you'll say the wrong thing, but it's the ability for you to be like, hey, okay, I said the wrong thing, or hey, I messed up, or hey, teach me what I need to do to better help you, to better, support you in whatever. And then at the same time, let me teach you how to better support and, understand the things I'm going through.
Right. Ugh.
Good shit.
Right.
The journey.
Good shit.
And that it is. I think for me, and the fellas might appreciate this one, I learned, especially in this relationship, that I was not as emotionally mature or intelligent that I thought I was, like, coming into this. Definitely held myself and my emotions on a pedestal when, like, I could be brought down a little bit. I think an important thing with that is having a partner who holds you accountable to, like, the way you're handling things and the way you're handling your own emotions, right? I don't know if I've said this example before. I won't go into exactly what it was because it was kind of stupid. But way back in the day, well, a few years ago of me and Devin dating, something had happened and I lashed out or whatever, definitely was being a brat or whatever it was. I was used to responding to situations that way, very much like getting my way if I had enough of an attitude, like, you know what I mean? Like, eventually he'll come around and say something and apologize to me, even if he wasn't the one wrong, right? Like, that's just the way I was used to being catered to and having my emotions catered to.
Yeah.
Or just going without talking at all, and eventually it would go long enough to where we would just forget about it and move on, right?
Yeah.
So having a partner who comes into play and sets a boundary with you, being like, I understand this is how you're dealing with this, but I'm not comfortable talking to you when you're handling things this way, right? Having somebody set a boundary for themselves, right? Protecting your own emotions. Like, you have to do that, right? You have to come in and protect yourselves, because if somebody's acting outlandish, whatever it is, like, you have to come in and set a boundary and be like, I get that you're upset and I get that this is the way you're handling it. I'm not comfortable with you handling it that way, and we can't have a conversation when you're heated like this and talking like this and acting like a brat, right? So having somebody hold you accountable is huge, right? And then having the emotional intelligence to be like, you know what? They have a point, right? So instead of being like, wow, you're being really rude, right? Because some people do want to turn it into that and turn it into a fight. Like, sometimes you have to do some self-reflection and be like, you know what? He might have a point. Like, probably shouldn't have said all that or acted like that or whatever, right? As I told you, the fellas are going to like this one. And ladies, this is not a pick me thing. This is just having enough emotional intelligence to be like, okay, this person does deserve my respect, and I probably shouldn't disrespect them, right? If he's setting a boundary that he wants to be respected in a certain way, I want to set boundaries like that too. I need to respect that. You know what I mean? So definitely have done some growing.
Ballers.
But I definitely learned that about myself, and I think it's huge to, like, take self-note and realize what you're doing and what other people are telling you you're doing as well. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Whew. This is
wow.
Hey, look, this episode is like #1 on the charts for sure.
facts. Viral.
I'm dead. Alrighty, quick tidbits before we do hookup and all that stuff. But some things, because I always want to leave y'all better. Well, we always want to leave y'all better off than you came in. So what are some things that people can do to work on having a better emotional intelligence? I think a big thing that I just hit on is self-reflect. Do you take note of what you're acting like? Pay attention to your behavior. question your own opinions, question yourself. Like, I know this has been a pattern for me, but like, do I have to do this all the time? Like,
Right.
look inward. You know what I mean? What do y'all think?
I'd say being able to listen first, and then respond, because, or just listen and don't respond at all. Honestly, because if you're able to listen to what someone has to say and then internalize it, and then you can respond, like, that's a form of, like, emotional intelligence, because you're able to put what you feel and what you think to the side to consider what someone else is saying to you and internalize it and kind of looking at it, and then being able to have some conversation about that. So I would most definitely say, like, being able to listen and internalize. Another thing is understanding, being able to just understand, like, bro, shit happens. Like, we're all human. We have flaws. We have glitches of our own. Like, everybody does. So being able to just kind of accept that everybody isn't as polished as they seem to be, like, on the internet, or they just kind of present themselves in a way that where they're just so well polished to where they don't have any flaws at all. But just being able to just kind of understand. Like, I'll say that's gotten me a lot farther than me, like, hacking at somebody or whatever, or getting onto them because they were late or something, or they didn't do anything. I joke with my friends like that sometimes. Be like, man, you ain't shit. Just because they didn't show up to a friend gathering. Like, just, I mean, that's just friendly. But being understanding, like, okay, bro, like, you had an appointment or you had to work.
Or life hit.
That's cool, bro. Like, it's fine. So just being able to understand and being able to listen.
I think for me, the biggest thing is, sometimes you have to just take yourself out of the situation.
Exactly.
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to look at things for the big picture. Never saying that to minimalize how someone feels. Never saying that to be like, all right, that's not that deep. Because if a person is reacting, it's probably deep to them. But sometimes it's like, if we're in an argument, okay, what is this argument for? Right? In the grand scheme of life, what is this? What does this mean? Or what can we learn from this? You're coming at me, I'm coming at you, whatever the case is. Okay, what are we each trying to say? Right now, emotions are high. Let's each go take a walk around the block and come back. What are you trying to tell me that I'm not hearing? What am I trying to tell you that you're not hearing? If you're able to do that, I just feel like that will solve problems and prevent problems. Because sometimes emotions are so high, and sometimes people don't know how to self-regulate, and sometimes people are just hot off of whatever's happening. And for me, it's always like, let them express how they're feeling. Like you said, Anita, keep that boundary. Like, don't wild out on me. But then also just stop for a second and be like, all right, now what's the bigger picture here? And where are we going? Is it something big? Is it something small? Is it something where it's like, oh, you forgot to do this, you didn't do that? Because 9 times out of 10, when we react off of something, we're also feeling the emotions of the day that we had. There's so much more that goes into it. So if we're able to just be like, where is this coming from? Then it's like, okay, cool. Now we can address the real issue. And it's not really that I forgot to unload the dishwasher. It's more so like, that's just the last straw for you today. And you really just need to tell me about your day, and we can work through that.
I agree. I think another, like, couple things, if you're trying to work on your EQ or whatever, be open to other people's perspectives. I know that was a huge thing for me this year, learning about other people's opinions and perspectives on things. Like, not everything has to be, like, I know this is a huge thing with social media and, like, people taking sides on situations think pieces, just on, like, certain cultural things going on and stuff like that. Like, your opinion is not, it's an opinion. It's not right. You know what I mean? Like, objective things are right and wrong. Opinions are subjective, right?
There you go.
So if you are feeling a way about something, like, it's okay for somebody else to feel differently than you. You don't have to hate that person because their perspective is different. Same thing in relationships. Like, just because your partner handles a situation differently than you or looks at certain cultural things differently than you. You don't have to hate your partner or always bring that up or whatever. Like, they're just different.
Right.
And like having an open mind and looking at different perspectives, like honestly helps you better shape your perspective when you hear other people's opinions and perspectives on things. So
there we go.
That's a big thing that goes into understanding. And then another thing for the motivated folks who are trying to work on having better EQ and being more motivated and stuff like that, make a schedule, get into a routine, like, find what motivates you, set some goals, like all that good stuff, and you'll be on your way.
And I'll say real quick as well, I just thought about this with schedules and goals. Surround yourself with people who are where you want to go.
That is a big one.
Oh.
So that way the conversations you're having, the things you're hearing, like, okay, I'm going to get my, I try not to, but I'm going to.
Go for it. Go for it.
If your friends aren't where they're supposed to be, they're maybe not the right people to bring your problems to, because they're going to put you or give you advice of a space where you're not trying to go.
Yes.
Exactly.
If you're in a relationship 100%. And you're in a healthy, committed relationship, but you got single friends that can't hold nothing down, they're maybe not the right person. Right. And it goes for men and women. I'm being funny, but it goes for men and women.
100%.
There may not be the right person to be like, you'll never believe what so-and-so just did. Because they're going to be like, drop that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. I don't want to drop, no.
Right.
I just wanted to know what I'm missing.
Right.
So surround yourself with people who can give you both sides of the conversation. Who, I am very blessed and thankful where I have a circle of friends where they can be like, Phil, you're wildin'.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can be like, all right, yo. And then there are times where like, no, you right, turn up. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Right? So just surround yourself with people who, understand where you're trying to go, and they can really hold you accountable for what you're doing. Stay out the group chat. Yo, girl group chat.
Chill out.
That
all right. And on that note, we are closing it out.
No man's land for real.
Alrighty, that concludes the pod. Thank y'all for joining in. We're gonna hop into the hookup, but we'll do that another time. So thank y'all for joining in.
Appreciate y'all.
Philip, it's been a joy to have you on the pod.
Yes, sir.
And we appreciate you.
Love you guys.
Love you too. Bye.
All right, later.
Holla if you hear me. I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me. I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me. I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me.
All right, what's going on, guys? I'll be hooking you guys up this week. I want to put you guys on a New Orleans style soul food restaurant. It's called Freshwaters. It's a fine Southern and New Orleans cuisine. Their website is www.freshwaterscharlotte.com. It's a black-owned business, really intimate, really nice place, sanitary. The sanitation rate, I think their rating was like 100, so they got like 100%. The food is really good. The catfish, shrimp, jambalaya, all that good stuff, all that good Cajun dishes they have. They do corporate parties, catering, and they have a full bar available. So this place is, in my opinion, 10 out of 10 as far as soul food. They have an Instagram. It's called, their handle is Freshwaters_restaurant. And they have some of their dishes and stuff posted on there. The address is 516 North Graham Street, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28202. Again, this is Freshwaters. So if you are in Charlotte and want some good soul food, Freshwaters is the place to go.
All right, y'all. We are closing it down. It has come to an end.
It's that time.
It's that time. Thank y'all for joining us, of course, as always. We hope you guys enjoyed this guest episode. We hope you enjoyed Phil. I know we did. So, Phil, thank you again for coming on the show. Hope y'all enjoyed. Also, if you are tuning in via YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Like if you agreed with something or want to comment on something that was said, our comment section is open. So feel free to tap in there, tell your friends, subscribe, all that good stuff. Give the video a thumbs up.
Yeah, we actually like engaging with you guys. So
yeah, for sure. Also, if you are tuning in via podcast, make sure you subscribe to the show there as well. So if you're doing Spotify, click the follow button. If you are tuning in via Apple Podcasts, click the little plus button at the top right, and that'll update you guys every week with new episodes. So yeah, man, thank y'all for tuning in as always. We love y'all, and we will see you next Wednesday.
All right, y'all be safe.